Okay, there we go. 17 hours 30. Sunday, 5 May 2019. Let's see who's out there for this afternoon's weekly net. ZS6 IPS standing by.
SEO, no traffic. This is 6 Foxtrot Papa Sierra with no traffic. 36 Golf Alpha, okay.
Wow, off the bat. Okay, let's acknowledge those that have called in. I think I might have missed one or two. Definitely one, I think you doubled. But maybe two. ZS6 Papa Alpha Juliet. Philip, nice to hear you up. I'd like to hear what you've done there. A little bit of rain, but you are coming through. We'll do a more intense test with you a little bit later on there. And then I've got Zulu Sierra 6 Alpha Alpha Charlie, ZS6 RBJ, ZS6 ART, ZS6 SNY, ZS6 SCO, ZS6 FPS, ZS6 Golf Alpha, and ZS6 FER, also with a lot of rain on your signal. Okay, let's see, who did I miss and anybody else that wants to join in? I see Echolink is off completely. So that means that nobody can call up on Echolink. Somebody just put it out on the group that Echolink is actually down at this moment, please. Any other call-ins? ZS6 IPS standing by.
Good afternoon, happy birthday, Chad. ZS6 Alpha Golf Echo. ZS6 JNT, no traffic, I think you missed me earlier.
All right, acknowledging ZS6 AGE and ZS6 JNG. Yeah, John, I think you doubled with somebody there. And I think somebody else also doubled with Gordon. So any other call-ins? ZS6 IPS standing by.
ZS6 Papa Alpha Juliet, do you copy that, Chad?
ZS6 Papa Alpha Juliet, I acknowledged you, top of the list there. Do you copy me? Let's just make sure that you are in actual fact receiving me. ZS6 PAJ, ZS6 IPS.
Sorry, no, I didn't catch that you acknowledged me. I'm actually just mobile at the moment, so sorry about that. But yeah, no traffic, obviously.
All right, acknowledged. At least you're coming through on 625. Hopefully you get your base antenna up one of these days. Hopefully you got your base antenna. Okay, let's see who else is out there for this afternoon's net. Now 1734. ZS6 IPS standing by.
ZS6WAT, happy birthday, Chad. I'm just listening. ZS6WAT.
Caitlin, is your microphone on? Acknowledged, unraised, ZS6WAT, any other call-ins? And ZS6KCM, I don't know if you're monitoring, but your microphone hasn't come up there. So I'm not too sure if you've connected properly. If you are listening on 625, I've got you on Zoom, but unfortunately no mic, so I don't think you're going to be able to talk back to me. Any other call-ins? ZS6 OPS standing by. All right. Now, I don't know if Caitlin's trying to tell me that Caitlin can't talk to me or if Caitlin can't hear me. So the message, I had no audio feedback on Zoom, is a little confusing there. Right. Last call. Any other calling? ZS6 OPS standing by. Okay, nothing else heard. Let's start at the top of the list. Philip, you take it around. Let's just do a round of greetings and whatever, and then when we get to the end of the list, any questions, whatever, we'll answer, and we'll take it from there. ZS6PAJ, ZS6OPS.
Thank you very much for that, Maria. I figured I'd just say to everyone out there on the west side of the world. I don't get any very much. Like I said, luckily I'm on my way to work at the moment in Stanton, so I wanted to say how's it, and that's who I am. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, Philip. Devon, ZS6 Alpha Charlie, ZS6 OPS, and really glad to hear you up there.
I don't have anything to say. I'm just going to be listening in for what you have to say as soon as you do it around. So I wish everyone a good evening and have a blessed and awesome birthday as well. I'm sorry, but I have to tell you this again. Bye. There is OPS and it's Alpha Charlie.
Good stuff. Thanks, Devon. Let's throw it over to Rory quickly. Rory, ZS6 RBJ, and the rest of the net, ZS6 OPS.
Nothing important to add from my side. I'll also be listening to what you have to say this evening. Happy birthday to the original poster, ZS6 OPS, RBJ.
All right, good stuff. I almost got the fright of my life here. But I had Zoom open and Caitlin is sitting there watching me, but can't hear me for some reason. Okay, and now a microphone has come up, so I think Caitlin, just nod your head if you can hear me. There we go. I got a thumbs up, even better. Rory, thanks a lot. Of course, I am original all around. Always have been, always will be. Let's move on. Arthur, ZS6 Alpha Romeo Tango, ZS6 Oscar Papa Sierra, and the net.
Arthur, happy birthday, and I hope it was a good one, and I hope you have a lot more up ahead of you. Nothing else much from my side. Basically, had a bit of a quiet week. ZS6 OPS, ZS6 ART in the group.
All right, Caitlin, are you monitoring on 625? Now, don't answer me. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Are you on 625? All right, so, but you can hear the radio coming through on Zoom. All right, thanks, Arthur. And, don't mind the delays in between. This is how it's going to work if we're doing analog on the one side, probably DMR on the other side, and Zoom on the third side. So we'll just have to be patient and work things. And remember what I said previously, MCOM doesn't always necessarily mean that you're going to sit there and you're going to be pumping and moving and active and all the rest of it all of the time. Because emergency communications, 99% of the time, you could be sitting there staring at the ceiling or the stars if you are outside. Mr. Adrian, ZS6SNY, ZS6OPS.
Guys, the compliments on the birthday cake, and all the other guys, they're all up and running. I just hope that we have a good week coming ahead of us, and there's no too much trouble.
Yeah, affirmative on that one there, Adrian. We'll bring that up, I think, at the end of the net. Norman, ZS6 Sierra Charlie Oscar, ZS6 OPS in the net.
ZS6 OPS, ZS6 SEO. Good afternoon all. Nothing from my side really. Same old as usual. Yeah. Looking forward to what you've got to say. Happy birthday, by the way. Hope it's a good one. And yeah. OPS, ZS6 SEO.
Okay, thanks, Norman. Pierre, ZS6 Foxtrot Papa Sierra, ZS6 Oscar Papa Sierra in the net.
Thank you, Jared. Good afternoon to everybody on the net. Nothing from my side at the moment to report. Happy birthday, by the way, Chad. And back to you. This is Sierra 6 Oscar Papa Sierra in the net from Sierra 6 Foxtrot Papa Sierra.
Thanks, Pierre. Glenn, let's try it your way. ZS6 GGA, ZS6 OPS.
ZS6 OPS in the net, ZS6 GPO turning. Nice to hear everybody up, Chad, and nothing further from my side either. Happy birthday. ZS6 OPS from ZS6 GPO.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks there, Glenn. Let's try Francois with a lot of rain. ZS6 FER, ZS6 OPS. All right, I'm sure he's on taxi duty. Gordon, ZS6 Age, ZS6 Ops.
ZS6 Ops, ZS6 Alpha Golf Echo. No traffic, but good day to everybody.
Good stuff, thanks. Caitlin says she's figured something out. Maybe you should type a message and tell me what you figured out. Unless, of course, it's just WhatsApp that's been extremely slow. Maybe you figured out how to turn your microphone on and also your sound, which I think is exactly what it is. However, it has taken that long for WhatsApp to come through, which again highlights why we should not be relying on technology for emergency communications. No matter what anybody or anybody else's auntie, uncle, aunt, or otherwise has to say, this technology is not reliable or is extremely slow, that by the time we actually do get the messages, well, the days have gone past. Mr. John, ZS6JNG, ZS6 OPS in the net.
ZS6 OPS in the net from ZS6JNG. Good afternoon there, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful day today. Lovely, nice warm day. And bit windy out here on the ECRN, but otherwise all good. No traffic from my side. Just happy birthday there to Fuzzy. And he knows what I mean. And we'll chat again sometime. ZS6 OPS from ZS6JNG in the net.
Yeah, acknowledged on that one. I can't even come back with the comeback of J&G, which is what I always called you. And now it's your call sign, so I don't know where that one came from. Yeah, I need the shave, so very fuzzy again. Caitlin will bear me out. Definitely looking like old Papa Smurf again. Just not very blue. I'm never blue. I'm always full of red hot stirring, so there we go. Cannot be blue. Let's see. Andre said he was going to listen, so I don't know if Andre wants to come back with anything. I'll give you an opportunity, Andre, and if you don't come back, I'll just leave a gap in any event for anybody else that would like to call in if you haven't already been added to the list. And then I'll pick up and we'll discuss one or two things, and then we'll close the net probably within the next 10 minutes. So, Andre, let's throw it your way. Failing that, anybody else that wants to be added, just give your call sign. Just leave a pause for Andre first, and we'll take it from there. ZS6WAT, ZS6OPS in the net.
ZS6 in the net, ZS6OPS in the net, ZS6WAT. Sorry, Chad, I was on the phone call. The gentleman after me, he can take. I did not follow what was on the discussion. ZS6WAT standing aside.
All right, no, nobody's after you there, Andre, at this stage. I just wanted to know if you wanted to pop in and add anything else. We've just done a round of greetings, and that's about it there. And then, of course, I'm going to leave a gap for any other callings. So I don't know if you want to add something or not. Just, you know, if you don't want to come back, that's fine, eh? As ZS6WAT, ZS6OPS.
ZS6OPS, ZS6WAT. All right, Jack, carry on with the group. I'm just going to sit and listen. It's not a problem. You've got other things to discuss with him. I'm going to sit aside and just listen. From my side, I'll say same thing to everybody, and ZS6OPS and ZS6WAT. Here.
Somebody doubled with you at the beginning of your last over, Chad. I think you might have another station there, ZS6RN.
All right, acknowledged. Let's hear. Are there any other callings? ZS6OPS standing by.
But good evening to everybody on the net.
Yeah, okay. Guys, sorry, I know I left a gap there, but I doubled with that station again. Please just come back with your call sign. ZS6OPS standing by.
This is ZS6 Tango Alpha November. Thank you for the bulletin. I was listening. I won't be coming back.
All right, thanks, Mario. Anybody else that wants to be added? ZS6OPS standing by. All right, nothing else heard. Great stuff. Firstly, I want to say thanks to everybody for the birthday wishes. Yeah, Carl almost forgot. He thought it was the 3rd of May. And I'm pretty sure Caitlin reminded him there. Or he picked it up on another group. I'm not too sure. He must have picked it up on one of the other groups. So he only greeted me quite a while after he had arisen, which wasn't too late this morning considering. But I could just imagine if nobody had said anything, he would have walked in on Tuesday morning and wished me. And I think, yeah, that's what happens as a result of public holidays. Sorry about that. We do tend to lose track of time, number one. Number two, if you guys really sit back and think about it, it's the 5th of May, guys. We've just had Christmas. You know, we're into the 5th month of the year. This is ultimately the winter. The beginning of winter, the first month of winter, if you look at that 4-month cycle for winter. And yet the temperature is extremely high today. And when I got up this morning, I realized, man, normally on my birthday, it's chilly. I mean, like really chilly, where we definitely can't be running around in shorts and T-shirts. Well, that was exactly what happened today, and I think a lot of people have experienced the heat. Which brings me to the point of our preparedness overall. And if we sit back and have a general look around, worldwide, as far as the weather patterns are concerned, everything is abnormal as far as weather. Let me clear my timeout timer. Right, 36 OPS returning. So when it comes down to our preparedness, as radio operators, we've got the advantage of being able to report almost real time on conditions regarding the weather and the effects that weather can have on our local communities. And this is something, all right, I don't know what happened there. Z6RBJ, Z6 OPS. Sorry, Rory, just tell me where I dropped out so I can pick up from that point. Z6 OPS.
Yeah, you did need to reset the timer, and we didn't hear you come back after that, over.
Wow, okay, I don't know what happened there, but I was definitely TXing, eh? Okay, not a problem. So basically, if we have a look at the weather pattern around us, worldwide, not just as far as South Africa is concerned, but worldwide, weather conditions have changed. Now, I'm not here to get into the discussion or the debate regarding, you know, climate change and all the rest of it. It's irrelevant, people. It's actually absolutely, totally irrelevant. The only thing that we need to concern ourselves with ultimately at the end of the day is the effects that this weather can have on each and every single one of our communities, which brings us to the point of radio operators. It doesn't make a difference whether you are a radio amateur, a CBA, somebody that's on a CPF network. As long as you got a piece of equipment that can transmit your voice over RF without the reliance on technology, we've got a very major advantage whereby we can be reporting on real-time events regarding weather. Now, closer to home, we know that Mozambique has been hit twice. Idai and again Kenneth. Both times, total and absolute destruction to the areas that were affected, and also to areas that weren't affected directly by Kenneth or Idai, but were affected and have suffered the results of the increase in rainfall over their particular regions. Then we can look further south and get back down into our South African borders with what has happened in KZN. Guys, what I want to say to you is this: it's happening. And we've got to start accepting that there are changes. And we need to be more vigilant and resourceful with regards to what it is that we are doing. Now, I've always said that, and I've said it many times, and I said it earlier, that we could be sitting on MCOM doing absolutely nothing. We don't have to be active the whole time. However, if we are utilizing our radio networks as a lifestyle, we can be we can be having a major impact in terms of sharing of information real time that is not based on fake news. Right, Z6 IPS returning after the TOT clearing. WhatsApp, we tend to pick up a lot of information and we cannot verify it because there's no eyes per se on the ground. There's no boots on the ground. There's nobody there of a legitimate source that can actually testify to what is taking place. Last weekend, last Sunday, 7 days ago to be exact, after the net, a situation arose whereby 10 of you guys called up and stood by. However, none of you were aware of what was actually happening, purely because of the fact that I activated everybody for standby purposes whilst Rory, John, and I were working on Alpha 16 in order to establish the legitimacy of the information that was in actual fact being disseminated and reported on. And at this point, I want to throw this over to Rory. Rory, perhaps give us a 2 or 3 minute report back on your perspective without divulging sort of any sensitive information, if I can put it that way. ZS6RBJ, ZS6OPS.
Okay, well, just really quickly, it was a message that came through on one of the local WhatsApp groups that we're members of. There were various different agencies on the ground at the time, so we were getting some direct information, and sometimes it was forwarded information. Social media was also abuzz with this aircraft that had potentially had a bird strike on takeoff and needed to dump fuel and land again at OR Tambo. So we were watching this, and on social media and on various WhatsApp groups, a flight number had been issued. However, the flight number was not the flight number that was in trouble. It was from the same aircraft, or the same fleet of aircraft, which I think was Air Zimbabwe, but it was a completely different flight number. So those that were tracking that aircraft on flight radar, or those that were licensed to do so, that were listening for any emergency traffic, were not picking up anything regarding this. I think it was UM330. And it later came to be that it was a completely different flight number that had got itself into trouble. So I think that at the end of the day, there was a situation where we had an aircraft above us that was in trouble, but fortunately everything turned out fine. They landed okay. After about 25 minutes, I think, they landed again, and everybody on board was fine as well. There were a few eyewitnesses that heard the explosion, I think, over Glen Marais. So yeah, there was some eyewitness reports and some reports coming in from certain people that were on standby on the ground. But even so, even though we were receiving sort of live reports of what was going on, the information was not accurate because it was third or fourth-hand information sometimes. And that just goes to show that if you're not physically or personally involved in a situation, you cannot take anything that you're receiving from somebody else as factual or true, no matter how close they are to the situation, because there's always room for error when it comes to passing of messages or relaying of information. And when something like that takes place, people are forwarding messages frantically. Social media is abuzz with what's going on, but a lot of the messages are disseminated incorrectly. So it's just something to consider. It's not the first time we've experienced something like that. Just this morning, somebody sent a voice note, or forwarded a voice note of the situation in Kempton Park, where I think some taxi guys had closed one of the roads there, and there was some violence taking place. And but that actually, I think, happened last night at around 8:30. But the messages were still being forwarded this morning. And it was not just on our group, but also received it from a couple of other people. So it's important to know what you are receiving, what you are forwarding. And just on another small side note, I've seen a couple of pop-up ads both on YouTube and inside other applications, and it's an advert by WhatsApp themselves, talking about the importance of validating information and not forwarding on information that you cannot factually check or that you know is true. And that's actually something that I think has become quite an epidemic, if that's the right word, on WhatsApp. Forwarding of information that's either old or factually incorrect or just completely made up from the start. Okay, that was a bit more than 3 minutes. Sorry, Chad. ZS6OPS, ZS6RBJ.
Yeah, don't worry, Rory. We're going to charge you $100 per minute over your limit for the jar. And I think epidemic is not the right word. I'd actually take it into a pandemic. Purely because this is the type of thing that is happening worldwide. And it's really become problematic all round. Right, we're going to go on a bit longer than the 10 minutes because I actually opened up the subject literally off the top of my head there. John, I want you to give us a 2-minute feedback. Just be a bit slow on your feedback because of the rain on your signal. I'd rather let everybody hear your take on what happened last Sunday evening. ZS6 JNG and the net is ZS6 OPS.
The next from ZS6G. Yeah, it was an interesting situation last Sunday evening. As Rory said, there was a report of an aircraft in trouble over Kempton Park area, and in fact out my side of the world. And in actual fact, it flew overhead very close to my home. But as I have an aviation history, I was able to have a listen out and to reach out a bit to some people I know and find out what was going on. And as Rory rightly said, the flight number was incorrect. And in actual fact, what had happened was the flight number was the same aircraft. The aircraft had a bird strike the day before, and it had been flown to South Africa on the UM303 call sign, and they had not changed it to the correct call sign for its flight back to Harare. We checked the aircraft with radar, and it continued on to Harare and landed safely. There was a publication disseminated by Air Zimbabwe regarding the situation the following day, which explained what had happened. And not knowing exactly what was going on, and certainly the air traffic controllers seemed to be fairly calm and so on, which indicated that there was no real danger at that point. But anyway, all's well that ends well. At the end of the day, the aircraft got home safely, and nobody was injured, which was all good there. But yes, I do agree with both Chad and Rory on the fact that we receive all sorts of information via social media, via WhatsApp, and in many cases it's either old, made up, or the broken telephone story has happened and you have not got the right information. So once again, if you don't know or personally witness what is going on, let's not say or pass information on like that. Okay, back to you, Chad. There, 36 OPS, the next one, 36 James.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, John. Now, having heard what Rory and John have had to say, I must admit I'm totally confused as to what happened, as I'm sure everybody else is as well. So I want to try and clear this up. But remember, everything that I do is designed for failure. And having said I want to clear everything up, I want to show you the failure that was automatically built in on this. So, without getting confused between flight numbers and whatever, let's talk about flight A for Alpha, or the Alpha flight, and the Bravo flight. Now, the Alpha flight came in the day before to OR Tambo and suffered a bird strike. That was Saturday afternoon late, around about 1600 hours, if I'm not mistaken, according to the tracking logs on that one. On Sunday evening at around about 1800, the same aircraft under Bravo flight number takes off from OR Tambo, headed for Zimbabwe. All right, I think we're quite clear on that. We've got one aeroplane. Flight A is inbound and flight B is outbound. Still the same plane. So when it takes off, they suffer some technical difficulties, which causes one major loud bang. Everybody that was outside enjoying the nice summery, wintry weather see this flight in the sky. Somebody even gets a video of it with this engine flaming out and flaming up and having a nice braai on a wing of an aircraft, and sends it out on the group, and there are various EMS services on the group, and the guys in Kempton are watching this, and there's people that are seeing it. However, the reports now come through that this plane is in difficulty and quite possibly can come down and fall on our heads. But nobody knows where it is and where it could fall. So let's be clear about that one. Nobody knows. As per social media and the WhatsApp, everybody's jumping in, and there's plenty of theories and. However, those of us that watch flight radar are watching the plane. We got a tail number. We tracking the plane. We see the thing has done a bit of a loop over OR and flown off, and it's headed up towards Zimbabwe. All right, TOT, ZS6 OPS returning. And so we're watching this flight. Nice straight path, no turns, no deviations, and off it goes. And meantime, back at the ranch, the WhatsApp group is still going on ever so nicely about the potentials, and this is happening and that's happening, and boy, we don't know what's actually happening. Then the report comes through, hang on, they have to dump fuel. I think it was Petersburg, if Rory and John will bear me out on that, but let's just say they're over Petersburg. They need to dump fuel to head back to OR Tambo. Now, please take note that this message comes through, and 2 minutes later, the report comes through from let's call it a reputable source. The plane has landed at OR Tambo. 2 minutes. Now, John, I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't think Petersburg to OR Tambo is going to be 2 minutes with a full landing. So somebody needs to clarify that one. However, the flight that we are watching is crossing over the northern border of South Africa. So it's not even near Harare as yet. So guys, you see how easy it is for things to become dangerous. Dangerous in the sense that this could have been a situation where we as radio amateurs, now I've brought this up once before, we can say something on air and cause widespread panic. Why? Because if I sit here and I put out a message, and there is another radio amateur sitting in a shopping center with a car window or car door open, volume is turned up, those people walking past that vehicle can hear it, and before you know it, it's out on social media, and people are headed for the mountains. That is where panic can come in, which is again why I stipulate that when we deal with emergency communications, we have to be extremely diligent on air in terms of what we say, how we say it, and when we say it. ZS6 OPS returning. It also highlights the need for, I'm going to use the term secure communications in certain aspects of emergency communications. And it's needed in order to prevent widespread panic or the dissemination of information that is sensitive and that can be incorrectly utilized. So the message for tonight, as part of the training session on emergency communication procedures, is diligence. Remember I said that I design everything for failure. And I'm sure there's a couple of you sitting there now thinking, but I didn't show the failure. Okay, let me just backtrack on it. We're tracking a flight crossing the northern border of South Africa, which is the Bravo flight. It's the correct plane that we're watching. But the report comes in that the plane has landed at OR Tambo. The failure in this one is not just the timing, but the failure is in terms of what was being monitored and what was being reported. By stipulating that the flight had safely landed, everybody could have sat back, packed up, gone home, and thinking everything is hunky-dory fine. Meantime, back at the ranch, the actual plane in difficulty could have fallen away, and we could have had a disaster on our hands. Failure, 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 and all of this on a technological application that is running real time with so much confusion. Very dangerous. So guys, I'd like you to hear the words that I have spoken on the failure aspects and take heed of Rory making the comments of the dissemination of information without verification. If you don't see it with your own two eyes, Z6 IPS returning, then don't share it until it is verified. If you don't see it, don't verify it. And the argument is given, yeah, but there are 6 or 7 people that are in actual fact stipulating. I'm sorry, guys. There could be 600 people stipulating it, and it can still be false information. You know, those of you that remember, Adrian was caught up in a CIT cash in transit heist, Jan on Deckers Road, just before he got his license. I took his words with more sincerity and accepted his report than I take over many other groups, people, and otherwise. We don't have access to the EMS, JMPD, fire services, so there's no way to verify it with them directly. But as radio amateurs who have an interest in emergency communication procedures, we have a responsibility. And if you don't like what I'm about to say, I'm going to say one thing: shame. We have a responsibility to not be negligent in terms of what we do. Emergency communications is not something you joke around with or play around with. And it has to be taken seriously with discipline in order for us as radio operators, and more specifically as MCOM radio operators to be diligent and disciplined and responsible, both on air and on social media, in terms of what we are doing. And that is the ultimate message that I want to bring across. ZS6IPS returning. That is the ultimate message that I want to bring across to every person who is interested in in emergency communications, whether they are radio amateurs, CB radio operators, CPF, Blockwatch, security affiliated radio operators, or people who have radios in their position. We have a responsibility to be accurate, to be correct, to be honest, to be truthful, and most definitely not to create panic, confusion, or otherwise. So in closing, last Sunday, resources could have been deployed between OR Tambo and the Zimbabwean border based on the initial reports. That's a lot of manpower, equipment, fuel, salaries. That could have been one very expensive exercise. But as John said, ATC was cool, calm, and collected. Why? Because they had the official, legitimate, up-to-date, current, and factual information at their disposal. And the rest of us did not. Right, very quick round of greetings, and then we close in the net. ZS6PAJ, if you're still on, ZS6OPS in the net.
Yeah, no, I'm still here. Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing, and again, with this plane being out ORT side, obviously, it's my side or my neck of the woods. And yeah, I mean, I must say that the staging area for ORT emergency services is probably about 2 minutes from my house. So yeah, no, the surprising lack of response was, I think, the biggest thing that caught me. I mean, normally if there is a phase 2 or phase 3, you hear it. Lots of it. They did that drill a couple of years ago with a hijacking, and all the CPF and everything responded after that. And it was fun. You heard it for kilometers. So I think, yeah, I think the big thing is that, yes, verify your facts, make sure that it's all good. I personally started up my AST to see what the story was and see what was in the air above us. Yeah, unfortunately, that didn't pan out as planned. But yes, no, I think the overall fact that objective facts is what's on. But yeah, I've got to go to work now, so I'm going to bid everyone good night, 7 please. So thank you, 76OPS, 76
Okay, thanks, Philip. Have a good one. ZS6 Alpha Alpha Charlie, ZS6 Oscar Papa Sierra. Okay, nothing heard. Rory, I'll bring you in last. ZS6 ART, ZS6 OPS.
Yeah, nothing more to add. I did post on the general chat group a link to a story about how a normal radio broadcast has caused panic in the past. Although it's been said that the panic wasn't really as bad as that the media and everybody made it out. But that was from the 1930s, I think. So I have a read that back on. It's actually quite interesting. Apart from that, nothing else. Have a fantastic week and 7 trees, everybody. 6 6 ARP.
Thanks, Arthur. Yeah, and as normal, guys, just stay tuned up until I close the net, in case I throw something in at the end. You know, the typical curveball. Norman, ZS6SCO, ZS6 OPS.
ZS6 OPS, ZS6 SCO. No, it was quite interesting thing that chat. But I think about all the stories going around. So never take into account or take to heart whatever social media and everything going on about it. But from my side, it was while all this was going on last week, it was like what's happening. I didn't know what was happening, but I wasn't going to rely on it because I knew you guys were control. I wouldn't say control, but you guys had all the information. So but yeah, it's very interesting. I think we need to remember this sort of thing when something like this comes through, or these messages come through. Not just jump, oh shit, there's a plane on its way down, blah blah blah. Let's get it out on the media. We need to actually just chill and wait and see what's actually going on. But yeah, thank you. That was actually very interesting. Anyway, from my side to everybody, have a good evening, have a good week, and all the best to you guys. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Norman. Piers, ZS6 FPS, ZS6 OPS.
Yes, Chad, ZS6 OPS and the NetCom ZS6 FPS. I actually missed all the let's call it fun from last Sunday. I was somewhere. But yeah, in this fake world, fake news, fake everything lies and deceit all over the shows. I don't really know always how it is possible to find the facts. But I'm sure if all of us work together, we would be able to get at least some of the facts. That's all from my side. Have a good evening. Please have a good week. And this is all from my side. ZS6 LPS from ZS6 FPS.
Okay, thanks, Pierre. Glenn, ZS6 Golf Alpha, or Gaga, ZS6 OPS in the net.
ZS6 OPS, ZS6 ECRN. Thanks for the points and information shared, Ron. Thank you very much. And good to see everybody on ZS6 OPS, ZS6 ECRN.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. ZS6 FER, are you back on frequencies? ZS6 OPS. Okay, thanks, Francois. Gordon, ZS6 Alpha Golf Echo, ZS6 OPS.
ZS6 OPS, ZS6 AGE. I was listening to all the comments, and it's amazing how the public media sector has been corrupted over the years. I remember some years back it was actually unlawful to rebroadcast unvetted news. You couldn't just broadcast these things on any media. Even phoning around was you were quite culpable to just release news items and things like that. But now with this public media, everybody just puts things on there. It's also given links to this social media corruption and what have you. But that's all from my side. I did have a question for you though, Chad. That some weeks ago you asked us to take down some shorthand notes and then fax it to you. I might not have been listening in the future weeks, but I wondered what was the outcome of that shorthand note that we had to sing back. Back to you there, ZS6 OPS and the group, the 73s from my side, the ZS6 Alpha Golf Echo.
All right, Gordon. Yeah, no, you're not going to like the answer that I'm going to give you on that one. I can see Caitlin sitting here. She's already smiling. Eh? She knows that I'm going to come up with one thing. Everybody failed. Every single one of them failed. And there was a reason for it, and nobody's asked me, but why did I fail? Well, I'll answer that question when I get asked the question. I suppose I can't give answers for something that hasn't been asked. Eh? All right, moving on. John, ZS6JNG, ZS6OPS in the net.
Yeah, I know the answer to that question, Chad, and because we had a discussion offline on that. Maybe I should ask the question then, and then you could answer everybody and put everybody out of their misery on that one. Why is it that everybody failed? And anyway, from my side, guys, have a lovely week, and hopefully we'll chat next Sunday evening. And I've got not much else to say on what happened last Sunday evening. As I said, no, I've had my say on that one. Back to the chat, ZS6OPS from ZS6JG.
All right, thanks, John. Maria, let's see if you're still there. ZS6TIN, ZS6IPS. Okay, nothing heard. Rory, last but not least, ZS6RBJ, ZS6IPS.
Okay, thanks, Ted. I missed a few of the comments. I had to go downstairs quickly. But, yeah, okay, not much really to add from my side. I've said everything that needs to be said. I think that, as Gordon said, social media is such that as soon as somebody catches wind of anything, it gets broadcast almost straight away. Everybody wants to be the one that has the special information to give and be the first person to send it out. And I think simply having some kind of information is more important to some than having the correct information. And this is not the first time we've seen what incorrect information can have and where it can lead. Even a few weeks ago, I think I did discuss this on there, I'm not sure if I did, but even a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now, we had a shooting here just outside our complex. Within minutes of it happening, or less than a minute of it happening, I think, I was outside, and the first thing that I heard somebody tell me who witnessed what had happened was that there was 4 black guys driving a BMW. Later on, CCTV footage showed that it was 3 guys, and they were driving a black Honda Accord. Then it was it was a Hyundai, a black Hyundai sedan. And this went on for a while, both on the news, Twitter feeds, as well as local WhatsApp groups, etc., etc. It turned out it was none of those cars. I can't even remember what car it was in the end, and it certainly wasn't any black guys. It was 4 Serbian chaps that put out a hit on somebody that was waiting here and talking on his cell phone next to his motorbike. And that was first-hand account of what had happened. And even that was all incorrect, completely incorrect. And, there's something to be said about somebody that just witnessed something traumatic like that. Even in that situation, can you actually be sure that you're giving the correct info out? Because there was a lot of people that witnessed, there was people in tears, and nobody knew what the heck was going on. They were all in such shock, in such a state at what they'd seen, that the information was all completely varied. Anyway, a lot to think about, but I think you summed it up very well, and just be very sure about the information that you're passing on, and be very sure about the medium that you're using to pass it on, whether it be your local repeater or a private frequency or whatever it is, WhatsApp, email,
right, thanks, Rory. Right, in closing, guys, Wednesday, 8th of May, of course, everybody knows it's election day. Guys, please, this is one day in particular, I think that that we should all be prepared, or in a state of preparedness, if I can put it to you that way, and to be available to provide any form of assistance, regardless of whether it will be required or not, and also, of course, just to give reports. And I think the most important thing is to know, or for at least other people to know, that somebody is in actual fact on air and is available. So I want to encourage each and every single one of you guys, Wednesday, make use of the 625. If you're closer to any of the other repeaters, get on air, announce that you are there, chat to people, and, you know, just be there. I don't know what else to say. If we were offline, I'd probably have plenty to say. So I think at this stage, yeah, just make sure you got radios, working radios, and that you can use them, that you do use them, and let's hear when you are there and when you are not there. So rather sign in, sign out, let us know, and you know, we just take it from there and be available. That's the big thing. So on that note, I want to thank everybody who called up this afternoon, and to those that listened. This net is run every Sunday from 17 hours 30 for approximately an hour, sometimes shorter, other times it could be longer. The net is open to anybody and everybody who has an interest in getting involved in emergency communications. You don't need to be a member of any particular club or the South African Radio League or any other entity or otherwise. The only thing that is required of you is that you've paid your ICASA license. You're more than welcome to join us. You're more than welcome to participate. You're more than welcome to have input. And you're more than welcome to just come and have a good time. So on that note, I want to wish everybody a great week, a great voting day. Remember that it's not actually a public holiday as such, even though I think 99% of you will be at home. So just enjoy it, and yeah, be safe, be prepared, and of course be happy. ZS6IPS now releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers everybody, I'm out.